What's going on, guys? Welcome back. So glad to have you guys back in class here today. And today we are going to start the first World War. But before we get to the fighting, we got to figure out what caused it. Why did this multi-continent war take place? All right. And so we're going to make it foldable. Take your paper, take the two outsides, fold them to the middle like that. Like so, and that is going to be the basis of our foldable. All right, you're going to have 4 columns, so if you want to take it and fold it again like this so that you have the lines for your 4 columns, you can. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do that. But on the front of your foldable, what you're going to need to put M.A.I.N, the main causes of World War I. The main causes of World War I. And these 4 main causes are what we're going to go over. Not only are they the main causes, they actually make up an acronym to help you remember what these causes were. So we're going to slide over here to the board. I'm going to do these 4 columns in 4 different colors, so you'll be able to identify the differences between them. So we're going to start with the M first. So open up your foldable. The first column on the left side is M. And that stands for militarism. The M stands for militarism. And militarism was essentially when all of these countries in Europe, because remember, it's competition, they all want to be better than the others, decide that they're going to build up their armies because each one wants to be able to say that they have the biggest army in Europe. So they're building up all of these armies, and then the buildup of those armies creates an idea or a threat of that other country. There's a fear or the fear of the potential of being invaded by that country. So militarism is the use of force So using or threatening to use force against another country or versus another All right, so this is just if you had 2 neighbors, say you had 2 neighbors side by side, right? And they're constantly in competition with each other. Well, that competition alone creates a rivalry between those 2 sides. So if neighbor A goes and gets a new weapon like this, well, neighbor B immediately has a threat or a fear of this new weapon that neighbor A has. So neighbor B then has to go and get a better weapon. So neighbor B retaliates with their weapon, a much larger one. Well, now neighbor A is fearful of the threat of force that neighbor B can do, and it just goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And each one continues to build up, continues to build up, continues to build up, until you have an overwhelming amount of military strength. So again, militarism is caused through military buildup. All right. So M stands for militarism, and that is the first of the 4 main causes of World War I. Now I want to move to A. A stands for alliances. A stands for alliances. Now, An alliance is an agreement between two sides that have each other's back. Sometimes these agreements are secret because you don't want another side to know who you're in partnership with, who you're in an alliance with. So an alliance is a secret agreement to defend one another. A secret agreement to defend one another. And before World War II even breaks out, you have two kind of major alliances that emerge that have these secret promises and agreements. The first is the Triple Entente. And that is England, France, and Russia. The second alliance is called the Triple Alliance. And the Triple Alliance is made up of Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire. And so before conflict even breaks out, you have two rivaling teams kind of ready to face off against one another. So M is for militarism, A is for alliances. Now we're going to move on to I, which is something we have talked about at length, and that is imperialism. I for imperialism. Okay? Imperialism, we've discussed, is when a bigger country controls a smaller country economically and politically. Okay? A bigger country controls a smaller country economically and politically. And this, remember, imperialism was kind of a race. It was how can all of these bigger countries gain more colonies, more land, more smaller countries to be under their control. And so what you see are hotbeds for conflict. Conflict emerges in two continents where imperialism is taking place, and that is in Asia and Africa. So imperialism alone is already starting kind of some smaller wars, some smaller conflicts within specifically the Asian and African regions. So the M is for militarism. The A is for alliances. The I is for imperialism. And now we're going to move to the N. The N is for nationalism. All right? The N is for nationalism. And nationalism is kind of like super patriotism. It's this idea of super patriotism. You're over the top in your belief and steadfastness, and love for your country. So much so that it creates a belief that your country is better than another. And you can see this idea alone would create conflict, because if one person just walked up to you and was like, I'm better than you just because, well, yeah, you would feel some type of way about it. Like, no, you're not. You're not better than me. We're two regular people. But these nations start to develop this super patriotic feeling of we're better than you. We need to prove that we're better than you, even if that is in conflict. And so what you have is an acronym, M.A.I.N, that also ironically describes the four main causes of World War I. And that is militarism, the threat of force, alliances, secret defense partnerships, imperialism, bigger countries going into smaller countries to control them, and nationalism, a super patriotic belief that leads one country thinking they're better than another. And so these are the four main causes. I asked you for the four main causes. The answer is in the word main. Militarism, alliances, imperialism, nationalism. So you're going to go and complete an assignment that goes more in depth into these four causes. If you have any questions, reach out to me, let me know. As always, have a great day.